Welcome to part 2 of multi-part video series dealing with adding data points now to the color chart. Go see part 1. We built the colors chart there, the color arcs there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just bring demand and age. However you wanted your scatter plot. If you want age on the axis here and demand on the bottom, I'm actually going to change this because I know what's coming up later. And so we'll have age down here and demand here. And this is what's going to happen. It's going to be sum. What we want to do is we want to change this to a dimension. And so now that becomes just the regular value. It's like taking it off of aggregate, but you want the aggregate because you've got these X and Y axes. This is looking kind of weird. That's okay. Come down here to demand under polygon, change that to shape, or if you want, I did circle, but you could change it to shape. Now, what we want to do is we want to get these dots on this axis combined with the dots on the X axis. So we are going to edit this chart here. And this is, I've done this before, and this says, okay, if the type, I'll show you what happens. If the type is data, then we want it to be the age. So we want this age to return. Well, what is the error? That's pesky, can't mix aggregate and non-aggregate. So let me show you the attribute. So this says returns the value of a given expression if it only has a single value for all rows in the group. Okay, so for attribute, all of these are going to have data in the group. And it's still giving us a problem. We're actually going to do the same thing here for age so that all the ages that are the same are going to be now in an aggregate function. You could do max, and maybe we'll do that if we have some time. But otherwise, we're going to do x-axis. Hit OK. Now we're going to bring the x-axis. Okay, I'm going to change this for just a second. The way this works is we need to bring, let's see here, we need to get this x-axis to be one of the options here. And so we'll change this to dimension. And the way that happens is wherever you first put the age or demand, or wherever you put the dimension that you want to plot by, you want to get it so that it's the x-axis. You could also do the y-axis, and then you would have to change this from x-axis combined to y-axis combined and make the appropriate changes. Okay, we're going to come to age, change this to circle again. And now we're going to bring the x-axis combined. We're going to drop this on the columns. And it's giving us a red thing. What is it saying? Well, if you remember, x-axis needs the path bins because it's computed using that. So if we were to come down here, it doesn't have a path bins option. So we'll just bring the path bins down to path, and everything works out. You may be able to pull it over, and it works fine. When I've been doing this a couple different ways, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If I've rearranged these dimensions, then I have to bring the path bins down to path, and that's fine. So now we've got all these data points in the same place. For right now, we're just going to leave this alone as a polygon, okay? We no longer need this x-axis, so we're going to pull that off. Let's see, let me just make sure that this is compute using bins, okay? Pull the x-axis off. All right, and now we do not need, we want to merge these two items. We don't need age. So we're going to pull age off. And now you see we've got the y-axis here, and we have demand. And so we come under demand, and we'll change that to circle. And now we've got what we want, right? And so from here, I think you know how to do it. You just right-click in a dual axis, and what we want to do is under demand, I like to take off the measure names, and under y-axis, take off the measure names. And now you get your color, and you've got your demand. You can do the formatting here that you want. Now, the one thing to be aware of, when I synchronize these, you'll see the y-axis is at 10 is a max. Demand is at 100. So if you wanted, under the y-axis, we've got an arc radius of 10. You would have to play with this on your own, but you might do something like times 10. Now you got 100, and you can synchronize the axis, and now you've got charts that, you've got data, you got arcs where the data is located. You can hide that. And you can rename those axes, obviously, and then hide this as well. So there you go. And on the next video, we're going to show you how to do the same concept with existing data. Maybe you have a ton of data, thousands of rows, millions of rows, and you just don't want to copy them into Excel. You've already got you're linking to some other data source and you just want to tack these on. And so we'll show you how to do that.